And use it like a rock star, you know.
As you know, there's been a lot of debate about wind farms and as an energy source in the islands. Just wondered what the panel thought about alternative sources of energy, for example, marine or tidal.
Is that because wind is just too awful to talk about anymore?
Probably.
Right. And what do you feel about wind then?
Well, I think that I just think living in an island, we should be exploiting all forms of energy.
Okay, do you want to repeat the question and perhaps give it a little spike such that people might disagree with it potentially?
Why don't you do it?
I may get there yet, but it's always worth a try.
There's been a lot of debate about wind energy here. I just wondered if any of the parties would be prepared to invest more in other types of energy, for example, marine or tidal.
Right, we're teetering towards let's get out of wind, are we? Well, okay, Mike, on you go.
I think to say let's get out of wind is to say the wrong thing. Every source is going to be required. It would be as foolish to say let's get out of wind, to say let's get out of marine, let's get out of tidal power. We're going to need an enormous mix, and we're going to need a mix that's right down into community level. Small community generation schemes are going to be important. The problem with wind is that there are many places, quite rightly, where it's unpopular, where the wind farms are being sited in the wrong place. The Western Isles bound to come up, so let's just raise that and get rid of it. The local people there should be able to vote on the issue, whether they have the largest wind farm in Europe. But the mix is what's important. I've come all the way today from Lockerbie, in the Dumfries constituency, where I'm standing, and I'm going back to Lockerbie tonight. Now there, the debate is, we've got too many onshore wind farms, we need more offshore wind farms, but we also need a barrage across the Solway, where in actual fact tidal can generate a great deal of electricity. We're at a stage in our development, as a country and as a society, where we're going to have to experiment, work hard, change ideas, and keep looking at alternatives, because we can't go on as we're going.
And I understand from the SNP manifesto that you want new wind farms to be built offshore.
Well, we want lots of wind farms to be built offshore, but we're dealing with an actual application now. So that application has to go through the system. What we're saying is add something to that system, which we'll do, add something to that system that allows people to vote there for that one, because that's an exceptional one.
Okay.
There's a bias in favour of offshore wind farms, yes.
Right.
And other things.
Are there any applications for more offshore wind farms at the moment?
Yes. A number, I understand.
Right.
But they presently require special parliamentary bills.
Okay.
And that's a cumbersome process.
Jamie?
Well, I'm very much aware of the arguments that have taken place over wind farms. I mean, especially ones like here in Skye, like Edinburgh, for example. And coming from Argyll, there are several wind farms there already, and in fact, some of them have in fact been made into tourist attractions now. And so
how do you make it into a tourist attraction? Do you colour it blue?
You just put up a sign saying to the wind farm, and then people go up there. And as a matter, I have to say that I think they should be built in appropriate places, but I don't think they're just one of the types of renewables. And I think that tidal and wave power is also very important. And I also think that small to medium-sized hydro schemes are vital here.
So you don't feel terribly ashamed that today Friends of the Earth decided that the Tories had the least green manifesto in Scotland?
Well, I mean, Friends of the Earth decided a lot of things.
Along with solidarity.
And I certainly do not.
Right.
We have, Leslie, if I can say so, we have an eco-bonus scheme in our manifesto, which would deliver £12 million a year for eco-bonus schemes for private house dwellers and also for communities. And this is for small wind power stations and other forms of renewables. So I think Friends of the Earth are talking nonsense as far as my party is concerned. And I don't like to be rude, but they are.
I think we need a mix of offshore and onshore wind. We need wave power, but we also need hydro, as Jamie mentioned, and things like biomass. I mean, in the Highlands, we've got loads of trees and things like that. We're building affordable housing. There's no reason why those forests couldn't be used to feed community energy projects using biomass. And I've seen that really successfully work in different communities where they've got a community burner for hot water, and that's actually very affordable as well as good for the environment. So there's loads of different things we need to look at, but we can't say one size fits all, because it doesn't. You need a mix of everything. You need it dependent on the area. You can't say, okay, we're going to have loads of onshore turbines, because somewhere there, you know, there's places they're not suitable, and that's why we've got planning guidelines. That's why the local plan should set out where is good for maybe siting wind farms and where is not so good for siting wind farms.
I don't think that the generation by wind is going to answer all the problems of the lack of electricity. You've heard talk of the wind and tidal power around the coast. We have plenty of wind, but it is infrequent. It doesn't blow all the time. I think there's a case for establishing a pilot scheme around the coast somewhere, even here in Skye. I know of many areas where there is sufficient current. We could construct a causeway with turbines in the causeway, and the benefit reaped from the generation would pay for itself in a very short time.